All right, welcome to an episode of TNT Takes. It's been a few weeks. Had a baby. That kind of stopped some things. um, but we're actually gonna do an NBA pod, and then we'll turn it around do a football pod right after it. So yeah, in the NBA pod, we're gonna talk a little bit about the Nets, the Heat, and talk about some power rankings, and then some award predictions. NBA starts tonight, so let's get
About
it.
time.
And welcome back to the episode. I'm Tyler Schoon over here with Trey Sizemore. We got our NBA pod going. I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about the Nets. I know the biggest story about the Nets right now is Kyrie Irving not going to
Mhm.
be playing all year as of right now until he gets vaccinated. I don't know what you think about this, but I think that mandate is more of an issue than Kyrie Irving's decision.
Oh yeah.
I think that New York shouldn't have that mandate because their mandate still allows players like Bradley Beal, Jonathan Isaac, other players who aren't vaccinated to play in Brooklyn.
hmm
So if they can still come play, why are you limiting? There's going to be probably at least one unvaccinated player in there almost every night because of
Yeah.
they're allowing anybody to come play as long as they're a away team. So what's the difference between having Kyrie in there when he's the only unvaccinated player on the team? It doesn't make sense to me that he's the one that's getting picked out when other
hmm
players are going to be able to play in Brooklyn. So that mandate's not for everybody. It's just for people
Yeah.
who live
It's
in New
like
York and play in New York.
basically yeah.
So that's my big issue with it. But I think if Kyrie doesn't want to lose almost 200 million, he might want to get the vaccine. I mean, if he's really wanting to win a championship and he really wants to get that extension, then he's going to have to play and get that vaccine. And you never know with Kyrie. He could turn around tomorrow and be like, you know what? I got vaccinated. I'll be there next game. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Kyrie. You have no idea what he's going to do. But I have a feeling that he'll eventually get vaccinated. He's probably not going to sit out all year, but it just depends on when he does and if we decide that we can't wait and want to trade him or something, that
Yeah.
might happen. But yeah, for now, Kyrie isn't going to play at all, not even in away games, which I think is the right move because they said that he would only be playing in away games,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird because he'd have to be away from the team when they, play home games and miss half
hmm
the season and it's just in and out and it's just too weird. I think that was the right decision to not make him a part-time player, make him play either full-time or not at all. And he said he wasn't going to retire, so maybe that opens up some trade things. I wouldn't mind Ben Simmons at this point. And I mean, he would help us defensively a lot. He's not trying to shoot the ball. We don't need another scorer. Um, or maybe we just flip him for Dame Lillard. That'd be pretty cool.
Shut up.
But yeah, other than that, I think we have a better team than we did starting last year. We have
hmm
more depth. We have more um, vets. Um, but then we also, I think, without Kyrie, our starting lineup will probably be Harden, Bruce Brown, Joe Harris, Kevin Durant, and LaMarcus Aldridge, maybe Blake Griffin, one of them. Um, but that
I
just
can
kind of
see
makes
him
our
playing Blake more just because they're worried about LaMarcus Aldridge's hurt all year long and stuff like that.
yeah. I think having because we have Blake that can play the five, we have Lamarcus that can play the five, we have
Paul Millsap.
Claxton and Paul Millsap. So one of those guys will probably be starting. I'm sure it'll switch a lot
Yeah,
because
I'd say it might be a rotation between them all until they find the right one.
especially with injury problems with
Yeah.
Lamarcus or Blake, you kind of want to give them as much rest as possible. So yeah, they'll probably have a little rotation going tonight, see whoever does the best. I'm really excited for Claxton. That's one player that I was gonna have you pick a couple players too that you're really excited to watch. For me, it's Claxton. I mean, outside of the stars, because of course you want to watch KD and
Yeah.
James Harden. But I like, I really want to see Claxton's improvement, and then I also want to see Cam Thomas, the rookie. He's been balling out even in preseason. He had a couple of nice games, not just summer league where he was the co MVP.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really think that the pieces that we added improved our bench. Is just kind of where we lacked last year, and so I'm just ready for us to get that dub tonight. We're gonna have to watch the ring ceremony against the Bucks. I think that we can beat the Bucks. I'm not really worried about them as much. I don't know. It'll be a fun game though.
Yeah.
You think Giannis' shooting is legit? I know you've been watching those highlights. He's been shooting real well.
I don't know.
that's
I
a-
think it's kind of like a Ben Simmons thing. They do that, like how Ben Simmons posted all his shots he was doing last year, how he's working on his shot. If you've been playing in the NBA for how long Giannis has, and you haven't improved like your jump shot a lot to where you're gonna shoot a lot, nothing's gonna
Yeah.
change this year than what happened last year. Okay, you're open, you might shoot a corner three, but you're looking to drive, you're looking to go to the paint, you're trying to do what you're good at.
So you think from day one to even last year, he hadn't improved his jumper?
No, it's improved some, but it's like he's not gonna go out there wanting to shoot threes. His goal is to drive to the paint. So I
Do
think
you
it's gonna
think
be just
that he
like
has
last year.
you think he has the capability because in preseason he was hitting about 2 a game? You think he's got that capability?
I think he's got the capability, but I don't think he's going to an actual meaningful games. I think he's just gonna go back to what he does.
I agree. I don't think that that's going to be his main focus at all. I don't think even open threes he's going to be looking just to take
Yep.
it. But I think that if he's coming down the court sometimes, he might decide to
I can
pull
see him doing that,
occasionally,
like LeBron
kind of
does
stretching out the
occasionally.
defense. But if he can shoot better than he did last year, you might have to step out on him a little bit. He hit a
Mhm.
couple against us that one regular season game where he had like 50 on us
Yeah,
because DeAndre Jordan had 2 feet in the paint all game, and he hit like 4, I think. But
if he can get a decent jumper,
so if he
his
can do
game
that
changes.
consistently, exactly. If he can do that consistently, where if they leave him open, he can knock it down. I mean, he has a slow shot, so you can kind of still get out to it. But
Mhm.
if he hasn't used that dribble, you're kind of hesitant to go out there because he's just going to blow past you.
Yeah,
Yeah, looking at our schedule this week, we got Bucks, Sixers, and Hornets. I think the 25th is a Monday, so that I'll just go with this week, and then next week we can have another NBA pod about our matchups next week. But I'm predicting a good 3-0 start. I think the Bucks are the biggest matchup there. If we defeat them, then I'm easily considering a 3-0 start. I could see 2-1 in a loss to the Bucks, just because we only have Kevin Durant, James Harden. Who knows how the team's chemistry is looking right now? But we'll get into our predictions later, our standing predictions. But I'm gonna go with 3-0 to start the year.
Are you counting the 25th?
No, not the 25th,
Okay.
because the 25th is Monday against the
Yeah.
Wizards. So we'll have another pod. I mean, it might be after that, but still,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about next week yet. But yeah, that's all I have on the Nets. Pretty excited for the season. I could see a championship coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good season. It is. We'll see.
What you got on the Heat?
Just gonna go where you kind of left off to start where I'm at. We're at the year. We played Thursday night against the Bucks. It's a home game, and I see us coming out winning that one. I think it's gonna be a close game, but it's gonna come down to the fourth quarter. And then we got the Pacers Saturday, which I see us going 2-0 going into next week. I don't see Pacers being a problem at all. That should be one we go through pretty quick. But yeah, I'm just curious how our new lineup's going to be with how Hero's improved in the offseason and the preseason, if his game can even get close to what he did in the bubble coming off the bench. And then really how Bam improves with now having another guy in Kyle Lowry, 2 defensive-minded guys in Morris and PJ Tucker in the down low with him. I just think it's been a good year. Excited to be a Heat fan for this year. I love this lineup. I love our depth we have and everything. Hopefully Victor Oladipo gets back healthy around January, February, maybe a little bit later. But hopefully we can get him in playing right before the playoff starts at the very latest. So we actually do something this year, unlike last year.
Yeah, I think you guys will have a much improved season off from last year,
Mhm.
but we'll get into some record predictions later with the Heat. I just think that the additions you guys had, you never know. You guys could be a top, I'm assuming a top 3 team, but
Mhm.
you guys could even be that top seed if you guys play up to your level.
Yeah.
But without injuries too, you never know.
Mhm. The guys who I'm most looking forward to, besides our stars, of course, is Tyler Hero. I want to know what he's going to do this year.
Yep.
My favorite player in the Heat right now. And then also, I'm actually curious who steps up, either Gabe Vincent or Max Struss off the bench with Victor Oladipo out, because we need another guy. We do, and I don't think we can roll with that 7, 8. Last year we ran a lot where we just played 7 personnel. We only had 2 people rotating off the bench, so everyone was getting a lot of minutes. If we can get to like 8, 9 occasionally, I think that would help out Jimmy a lot, help out Kyle Lowry. They're both getting up there. So really, my biggest thing is our bench. How solid our bench can be this year compared to last year.
I was gonna say, who do you think is your bench 5? Like the 5 coming in off the bench, all
like
you got Tyler Hero
opening day, or
yeah, Tyler Hero at the point.
I got Tyler Hero at the point,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have. I personally gave Vincent at the 2 because I'd rather have Hero run the offense than
Yep.
Gabe Vincent. And then I got Struss at the 3, Morris at the 4, and then Deadman at the 5.
Okay. So your starting lineup would be Lowry, Jimmy
Robinson, PJ Tucker,
PJ.
Bam.
Okay. Solid defensively for sure.
Oh yeah.
Except Duncan.
Yeah, that's why when Victor
Mhm.
Oladipo comes back, if he's healthy, throw him into 2, let Hero and Robinson go off the bench, let them do all the scoring. Because
Yeah.
that's a defensive-minded offense. At starting 5, you can get Victor Oladipo in there.
Yeah, that's a solid lineup. Well, it'll be a good battle, I think, between Nets and Heat, and I'm excited for that first game. I'm not sure when they play first, but it'll
Mhm.
be a few months away probably, and I'm excited for it to be a really good game. Come on
Yeah.
here and talk about it, make some bets about it. Is that all you got?
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got with that one. Really nothing
Yeah,
they've really done in the offseason or any drama around them right now.
yeah, there's a lot of drama with the
We
Nets and Kyrie.
actually play next Wednesday, the 27th.
Oh, okay. It's
It's
that early in the year.
at Brooklyn.
That'll be a good game. I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah, early, no injuries.
Yeah, like I said, they're both going to be a top 3 team.
No injuries
And no,
already by
that's
next Wednesday.
yeah, that'd be awful. And career or season-ending injury for anybody at that early just would suck. Just suck. So yeah, like I said, they're both going to be a top 3 team. We can kind of discuss our playoff prediction, our playoff picture right now. I think we can just start off in the East. Who do you think is going to have the best record in the East?
See, that was tough. Like you were saying, I could see the Heat doing it, but right now, even with Kyrie out, I'm gonna give it to Brooklyn by a couple games as the number 1 seed.
I can see that. I think we're going to be right there, and I see a lot of rest days for like Kevin Durant, for
Mhm.
like the ones we're talking about, the vets. And so if Kyrie is not there, it's going to be kind of tough to win some games with just James Harden on the floor. I doubt he'll ask for rest days, and I doubt they'll force him to take a rest day if he doesn't want it. So I think the Bucks are going to have a really good regular season.
Mhm.
They're going to be a regular season team this year. I think they probably get knocked out second round in the playoffs. Maybe Eastern Conference Finals, depending on when the matchups happen. Because if the Nets and Heat end up having to play that second round, then
The
it'll probably
Bucks are for
be
sure going to
conference
be in the
finals.
Eastern
Yeah,
Conference Finals.
exactly. And the way that I have it with us the 2 and you at the 3, so it goes Bucks, Nets, Heat. That's what I see happening is one of us being in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I got
And
Nets,
really against the Bucks.
Bucks.
Okay.
I got Bucks at 3.
Yeah. Either way, 2 or 3. If the Bucks are at 2 or 3, they're gonna have to play the Heat or the Nets, and
Mhm.
I don't see them getting past the second round. That's what I mean. If they're a second round team or an Eastern Conference Finals team,
Yeah.
no way they're in the finals again. I'm
No.
saying that right now. No
No.
way. So there's our top 3. We have a similar top 3 of the same team, just different order. Number 4, I went with Chicago.
I did too. I went with Chicago 4.
I
A lot
think
of people had
Chicago.
them. A lot of people had them at like 9 or 8, and I was like, I don't see it.
No, I probably would have had them down at like 6 or 7 until I watched them this preseason. They looked real good.
Lonzo looks good.
And
They all look good together. Like they're already meshing well.
Vucevic didn't even have a good preseason, but he's going to show out in season.
Yeah.
He always has good numbers, all-star level numbers, and so
Mhm.
I could see him really being a top 5 team. Number 5, I went with Atlanta,
See, number 5, I have Boston.
Boston. What they do to move them up so high?
I just feel right now, I think Tatum's going to make a big step. I think him and Brown like together and make a big step. And I really think that starting with Robert Williams at center, I think he's going to make a really big case to be not like a top center, but solidify them to be that rebounder and get the boards and be a man down low that they actually need.
I like Robert Williams if he can make a jump, stay healthy, because he had a few injury problems last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, he might even be a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year if he stays
Exactly.
healthy.
And I think that's really the Celtics. What they really need was a guy down low to do all that dirty work.
Tristan Thompson did it to us, but that's true. I mean, that's our terrible bigs that we had. Number 6, I went with Philadelphia. Without Ben Simmons, they're definitely not going to be a top seed. But Embiid is still Joel Embiid still the best center in the league, maybe top 2, depending on what you think. Say that every time. But I still count them above the Celtics, which I have at 7.
See, right now I have Atlanta at 6 and
Mhm.
Philadelphia at 7, just because I'm not sure about if it's just Embiid. That's going to be a lot for just him. Because
It is,
Tobias Harris, I don't think it's going to be much. I still think he's
he's
overpaid
gonna
for what
be
he
injury prone. But I'm telling you, they have to get rid of Simmons before
Yep.
soon. I mean, they've already suspended him for the first game. He seems like he doesn't even
Yeah,
want to be
'cause
there.
they said do this defensive drill at practice, and he said no, and Doc Rivers said leave.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. And they're gonna have problems all year. If
right
he's
there,
available.
I'm getting rid of him. I'm not going to have this dude coming in there. And did you see what Embiid said? He was like, "We're not here to
Yeah.
babysit." Like,
Yeah, he said he doesn't care about that guy anymore, and I'm sure that he means that as in he's tired of people talking about him, tired of having to answer questions about him, and it's regular season time. It's time to
he just
focus
wants
on
to
the
play
season, is what
basketball.
he's saying.
Do
I
his
don't
job.
think that he's saying like fuck that guy, get him out of
Yeah.
here. I don't care about
I
that
think
guy. I
it
mean,
feels like, hey, it's regular
there's a
season.
little bit of
Stop
that.
talking about it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Exactly. So I don't mean I think that he said that in a way that kind of blew up the media because it made it seem like that's what he was saying, but you still can't repair that. He's got to go.
Yeah.
Like even when he decided that he was going to come back and play, I was like, okay, maybe they can work it out a little bit to where he plays half the season and then trade him at the trade deadline. But I think it has to happen now
I think it should.
because obviously nothing is repairable there. They
Yeah.
are all unhappy, and so I'm thinking that you have to trade him. And I see Portland as a big option now.
I still like the Dallas move.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see Dallas as a possibility, but they seem pretty set on Porzingis being a big part of their offense. Jason Kidd seems to have repaired that a little bit. We'll see what happens, but
Mhm.
I mean, if you're the Sixers and Kyrie Irving is on the table, he will play for you guys because he said he's not going to retire. He will play because that doesn't require vaccination over in Philadelphia. Do you pull the trigger on that if you're Philadelphia?
I mean, I think you kind of have to, really. I think
think
that if it's on the table and he says he's not going to retire, he's going to play, you do it.
that's what I'm saying. If you get a verbal commitment from Kyrie that says, "Hey, yeah, I'll play for you guys. I'll give you guys a season and see if I want to re-sign with you guys." I think you have to do it. I mean, the worst thing that happens is you lose money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you save money next year because he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
But you get a full season of Kyrie, who's better than Ben Simmons, and then you have Kyrie and Embiid, who can possibly be a top 5 seed.
Yeah.
And I think as a Nets perspective, it's kind of tough to do because I think Kyrie's better than Ben Simmons.
Oh, yeah.
So
but
it's tough.
Ben Simmons would also fit in well with the Nets for his defense and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So I think it worked out both ways in general. But
Yeah, it'll work out. It's just it's a tricky situation, but I think that if that's on the table for both sides, you might as well pull the trigger now.
mhm.
Unless Kyrie says, "Hey, I'm going to get vaccinated," then you say, "Okay, fuck that, I'm not going to do it."
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's top 7. So we'll go down to 10 just to get that play-in tournament available. So I got 8 as the Knicks, 9 as the Hornets, and 10 as the Wizards.
Okay. I got 8 as the Hornets,
Mm-hmm.
9 as the Knicks, 10 I have as the Pacers.
I was going to say Pacers. Yeah, my 11 is Pacers, 12 Raptors, 13 Cavs, and then Pistons and Magic fight for that 15 spot. But yeah, so we have it pretty similar. I think it'll be a pretty close to what we have. I don't think that it'll be like a last year where you said Suns aren't making the playoffs and they get that second seed.
Okay, I didn't see that type of year happening. I was right on the Raptors though. You didn't think that was going to happen.
Yeah, you did pick the Raptors. I had the Raptors making the playoffs, and you said no, they're not. So that surprised me. Yeah, you're gonna miss some. I wouldn't have taken Chris Paul out of the playoffs, but all right, we'll go on to the West. So number 1 seed, I have this team actually having a really good year. I'll explain more later when we do our award predictions. But I got the Nuggets as the number 1 seed.
Ooh. Number 1 seed, huh?
Yep.
I have the Lakers as the number 1 seed, actually.
I got Lakers as the number 2 seed, and Suns is number 3.
I got to jump right here. I got the Warriors as my number 2 seed.
I see them having a good year after Clay returns.
I can see that, but I can also see Steph, Draymond, Williams. I think that's still enough to make a threat if They're all healthy, going good.
They had that team last year, and they made like the 8th seed.
Yeah, but I feel like
Actually, I think
another
it was.
year.
I think it was.
I just think another year, and it's hard to count Steph out. It really is. And if they make
I'm
a
not
run,
counting them out.
and if plays back, and they make that big run, you never know with basketball. But my number 3, I do have the Nuggets there. I was close to putting them at 2, but I just feel I just think that Warriors going to do that. And then 4, I have the Suns.
I was gonna say 4 has to be the Phoenix Suns. 4 for me is the Jazz, and 5 is the Mavs, and then 6 is where my Warriors come in.
See, I got the 5 as the Mavs and 6 as the Clippers, even with just Paul George.
Yeah, Clippers I put pretty far down this year, depending on when Kawhi can return. And
Wait. Did I say Jazz yet?
No,
I didn't.
I don't think
5
so.
Jazz, 6 Mavericks, 7 Clippers. My bad.
Gotcha. So yeah, I have 5
I looked at it
Mavs.
and I was like, wait a second, I'm missing somebody.
So I have Jazz at 4, like I said, and then 5 Mavs, 6 Warriors.
Yeah.
7 for me, I have Portland in there.
I got Portland as my 7. No, I got Portland as my 8.
Yeah. And that's why after looking at these teams, I was like, I don't see the Clippers being better than these teams without Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
They did pretty well in the Western Conference Finals without Kawhi, though. So maybe they could be. But I have the Clippers in at 8, and then the Grizzlies in at 9.
I got Grizzlies at 9 too. Who do you have at your 10?
I went with the Pelicans.
See, I think so too. I think when Zion gets back, I think he can make a run for 10.
I just don't see the T-Wolves, Kings, Spurs, Rockets,
Mm-hmm.
Thunder beating them out in that spot. Those teams are all.
I mean, I could kind of see Thunder just because they make runs they've done pretty decent with their young guys. I can see them having a decent year and doing it, but I don't know.
You think Josh Giddey's going to get them there?
I like Josh Giddey. I do. I picked him up in fantasy for a little bit until Zion gets healthy again, just because he can shoot and pass. So
I'm taking the bust on him.
Taking the bust?
I'm taking the bust on Giddey.
I was close, but I'm gonna roll with it for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's always some busts in those top 10 picks.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gonna be one. He reminds me of Adam Morrison. You remember Adam Morrison?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're pretty similar on those picks. I'll probably have them on the side by side and I'll put them on TikTok or something.
Mm-hmm.
We can move on to our award predictions. So we just talked about a rookie. Is he going to be a rookie of the year? You got Giddey taking the.
No, I do not. I got Jalen Green as my rookie of the year.
That's my rookie of the year. My sleeper, I have Scotty Barnes.
See, my sleeper, I have Jalen Suggs.
Jalen Suggs is just tough on that Magic roster. He's got a.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. 6th man of the year. I had a couple options here. Tyler Hero was gonna be my pick. He really was, but then I was like, he might end up starting at that 2 spot if he does, good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Oladipo back, they might want Oladipo as that backup point. So I'm gonna run with Derrick Rose because he's for sure gonna be that 6-man role.
I have Tyler Hero as my 6th man, and my number 2, if he does become a starter, is Coby White.
Coby White. I like Coby White.
I think he's going to have a nice role at the bench with Lonzo.
It makes sense because he plays a little bit like Jordan Clarkson, just a scorer off the bench.
Yeah.
Just chuck. It'll fall. Most improved player of the year.
I got Michael Porter Jr. right here.
Michael Porter Jr., I think he had a good enough year to where it's going to be.
We thought that same thing about Brandon Ingram, and then he just got like 3 or 4 points above, and they gave it to him.
Yeah, exactly. They like to give it to guys like that. I could see Michael Porter. The guy that I'm thinking of is more of did so bad last year. You kind of got to expect him to do really, a lot better this year, especially coming off of an injury. Definitely going to be a focal point of their offense. Jaren Jackson Jr.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
So it was going to be his 3rd year, I think, and I just see him and Ja Morant being the main focal points of that offense, and him having a chance to really score a lot of points, be a unicorn they call it, the shooter. Yeah. So yeah, I got Jaren Jackson Jr. Defensive Player of the Year. I think we got the same one here. I picked him last year, I think. He just had a little bit of injuries this past season, and plus they didn't play up to their potential, the whole team. But this Defensive Player of the Year is almost always a big. His team, I'm expecting to have one of the best defenses in the league, and I think he's going to be a big reason for that. The Miami Heat, I'm going to go with Bam Adebayo.
I agree. I have Bam as well as my defense player of the year.
Yeah, I think he'll have a really solid year, and he's on my fantasy team, so I wouldn't be upset. MVP, who you got?
This is a tough one for me, and I'm down to two guys who I can see it happening, and I have either Luka or Steph.
I think it's either Luca or Harden. I think
Okay.
Harden without Kyrie is going to do everything. He's going to be almost a triple double. Going to average probably 11 assists a night, probably 25 points a night, and I think that we're going to have a top two record. So I think that he's going to be a big part of that. Probably play a good 70 something games, and Harden getting his third MVP.
Mm. I can see it happening. Especially if KD has to rest a lot, and then he still proves it.
I have Luca if they make it into like a top four seed. Like, and I think they were the no, they were the 5 seed last year. But yeah, if they make it to a top four seed, and I think he could win MVP. He just scares me with every night. It seems like he gets hurt with something and plays through it. So you never know when that's going to catch up to you. Coach of the year, I went with, and I already talked about this. I'm expecting this team to be first in the West. And, Murray coming back, Michael Porter Jr. having another year under his belt. You've already picking him for most improved player. I'm expecting a really good year. I think it could be top 1 to 2 seed. And if they get that 1 or 2 seed, I think Mike Malone will end up being coach of the year.
I got Eric Spoelstra as coach of the year, especially if he can snag that first seed. That is possible. I can see him.
Oh, it's possible. It's possible. My sleeper was Jason Kidd because, like I said, if Luka wins MVP, they end up a top 3, 4 seed maybe, and it wouldn't surprise me. I could see Jason Kidd his first year carries them that far, and Luka has his MVP season, and Porzingis got to stay healthy.
Yeah,
but I could see them being a surprise and Jason Kidd winning it. That's my sleeper.
Yeah, I could see Jason Kidd, or I can't remember his name, but Chicago's coach.
Is it Billy Donovan still?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I could see him being it too if they make a big jump and have a solid year.
Yeah. I think the Bulls are going to be pretty solid. So that's all the awards except GM of the year. If you wanted to try to pick that one, but
Pat Riley.
I was going to say I'm either going Pat Riley, or I would say Daryl Morey, but he's got to find a really good trade for Ben Simmons to get that, and they got to end up top 3 seed, which I just don't see happening. So maybe Sean Marks, because we got a lot of solid depth this year, and maybe we could find a deal for Kyrie. And I think he should have won it last year, but
yeah,
we'll move on to our Western Conference Finals picks. Who you got in the Western Conference Finals?
See, it's tough. I do have the Lakers in it, and then I also have the Mavericks. I'm gonna take a jump. I'm gonna take a risk with Mavericks and Lakers. I think it's a risk. I think especially if the Nuggets do fall to that 3 seed, Nuggets and Lakers right there, right before.
Yeah,
that's gonna be tough. I would like to see Nuggets. If it's not Lakers, I'd like to see the Nuggets just because they're a new young team coming up. But I'm gonna make a jump. I'm gonna risk and say Mavericks, Luka.
And who you got in the finals out of that?
The Lakers.
Lakers, obviously. Okay. So I went with the Nuggets and Lakers because I think that they're going to be 1 and 2 seed, and I think that they're both going to be there. And I think the Nuggets or the Lakers will end up beating them in the Western Conference Finals. And then I have the Lakers in the finals. In the East, I have the Nets. And then, like I said, it's so tough between the Bucks and Heat because you don't know what the seeding is going to be. But if I do have the Bucks as the 1 seed, I think that they're going to have a way easier path. So I'm going to go Nets and Bucks. If the Nets or Heat end up as the 1 seed, then I'm going to go Nets and Heat. But since my prediction has the Bucks at the 1, I'm going Nets and Bucks. And then I have the Nets winning that with ease, by the way, a good 5-game series. And the Nets and Lakers in the finals.
I'm going to change my Mavericks vote because I totally forgot that I had Steph at the 2 seed. And so putting the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals in my head.
That would be fun. That would be pretty fun.
But I still have the Lakers winning into the finals. And on the East, I got the Nets and the Heat. going
Okay.
down to a 7-game series, and I have the Heat.
Yeah, I think the Nets and Heat are going to be tougher than the Nets and Bucks. I think we take down the Bucks a lot easier than the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we end up in the 2 seed, like I have it predicted, and we play you guys in the second round, it'll be probably a 6 or 7
I
game
think
series.
if we meet each other in the second round, it's going to be the series of the whole finals.
Yeah, at least of the whole Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, because the finals would be fun with Nets and Lakers. That might
Yeah.
be tough to beat. But yeah, so I got the champs as the Brooklyn Nets. Wait, did you
See.
say who wins in the Nets and the Heat? Who you got?
I said Heat.
You got the Heat in 7. Okay.
And I got the NBA champs as the Miami Heat.
Okay. You can't really go against them since they are such a good, a contender for a championship. You might as well. It's your team.
Mm-hmm.
Got to stick with them. I'm sticking with the Nets, taking out the Lakers in 6 games.
I'm going to say the Heat in 6.
Solid. So we'll end it like we ended the preseason of football with a little bit of over/under bets. We got
Okay.
some records. We got some points per game averages and stuff like that. We'll start with the Nets wins over or under 56.5.
I'm going. See, that's tough because I have the Heat.
It is.
I have the Heat at 56 is what my prediction is going to be for the Heat. So I think since I have them, I have to put them above because I have the Nets as number 1 seed right now.
I'm gonna take the over. It's just so hard to predict when they're gonna rest people.
Mm-hmm.
But because I think that it's a lot harder to. I mean, last year 56 seems like a ton of wins because we only played like I think 70 games,
Mm-hmm.
and so this year playing 82, 56 and 26, it's pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd probably put it at. I'd probably give us 58 to 60 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take the over as well. And so it sounds like you're going to take the over on the next one. Heat wins over 50.5.
I'm over.
I got them at 50 because I do have them at the 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have them at 50. I think the Bucks are going to be at 60 as well. It's just going to be so close between the Bucks and the Nets for that 1 seed. I think the Heat are just going to take a little bit of time to gel. Plus, like you said, they're getting a little older. They're going to have to rest some guys too. I'm sure Lowry's going to get a couple of days off, and Jimmy's going to get a couple of days off. So it'll be interesting to see what they finish at. But I have them at 50 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have the under on the 50.5. This one's not Nets or Heat, but it is another team that is really popular. You kind of have to talk about them. The Lakers wins over under 52.5.
I got the over on the Lakers.
I'll probably take the over as well. I have them not much over though. I have them in the mid 50s, probably like 54. It's really tough to predict those wins though.
Because there's so many rest days that they're gonna have.
They're gonna have rest days too, and then you never know about Anthony Davis's health. But I'm trying to stay out of health and injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Just focus on if they are healthy, they will be at. Kevin Durant points per game. I got over under 26.5.
I got the under.
I got the over. He's gonna go for like 30 this year, man.
I got the under. I see about 22, 23.
Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, last year you have
That's
27. All right, I got him at like 29 a game. James Harden assists per game, over or under 10.5.
I see over.
I got over. I think he's gonna average about 11 or 12. Just sticking with the Nets here. Kyrie Irving games played, over or under 40.5.
In the NBA or for the Nets?
This season, just this season.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go over.
I'm gonna go under. Right now it's looking like 0, so I'm just gonna stay safe and play with the under here on games played for Kyrie. Let's look at Tyler Hero points per game, over or under 15.5.
That's tough. We have a lot of people who can score. I'm gonna go.
It is tough.
I'm actually gonna go over.
I am too. If he's gonna be like you said, a 6 man of the year candidate, he's probably gonna have to average about 18,
Mm-hmm.
like a Lou Williams or a Jordan Clarkson, something like that. Bam Adebayo rebounds per game over or under 9.5.
I'm gonna go over. I think he's gonna average about 11 a game.
I'm gonna. Last year he was at 9. I'm gonna say that he stays at about 9 just because of his defensive skills. He likes
Mhm.
to guard the guys on the perimeter. Sometimes they can switch all the time, so he's gonna be guarding the shooter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like natural big men who just sit down low.
Yeah.
He's gonna have those nights where he gets 5 boards or 4
Mhm.
boards or something like that, just because he's switching so often. And they like to try to attack that and do step backs and stuff like that. It's just tough to get those rebounds unless they're long rebounds when you're guarding shooters and on the perimeter.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick to about 9. And then the last one I have here is the amount of all-stars the Nets are going to have this year. Well, actually, I'll ask this for both teams. So the amount of all-stars the Nets are going to have, over or under 2.5?
Under, because I just have 2.
I only have 2 as well. For the Miami Heat, over or under 1.5?
Over.
You got 2?
Yeah, I got Jimmy and Bam for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I got the over as well. Kyle Lowry could make a bet.
I can see him making a threat for it.
He's made it a decent amount
But I
of
know
times.
for sure Jimmy and Bam are making it.
For sure.
Oh, 100%.
All right, this might be another one we go back to. So yeah, that's all the bets that I have tonight. Let's talk a little bit about the games tonight. Who we got winning? We got Lakers and Warriors and Nets and Bucks.
I've got the Lakers and the Nets.
I got the Lakers and Nets. I think it'll be a lot tougher of a matchup when Klay Thompson returns. I talked about it a couple times. They're going to need Klay to do things, but I think Jordan Poole has a really impressive year too. I don't know if you noticed. Picked him up on fantasy because I think he's going to have a solid scoring season.
Yeah.
At least until Klay returns. Then he might be a 6-man candidate. Never know.
I could see that happening too, yeah.
Yeah, lots of predictions have been made. We can post this somewhere and see who gets laughed at the most. And we'll look back at it about halfway through the season and we'll change it probably. I don't think we got to last year. Something happens where we never got the end of the season. It was like halfway through, and then towards the end we couldn't really find the time to get a couple in. But this year I think we got a schedule going. Every Tuesday now we can probably put something out there, either NFL or NBA, and we'll be able to change about midway through the season. So yeah, that's all I got for NBA. Anything else you want to add or say?
No, I don't have anything else on the top of my head, really.
I was going to pull this out and I was talking MVP. Let's go.